So the outline's been drawn on, and now what I'll be doing is mixing up the paints. So the China paint comes in powdered form, so it's glass, powdered glass, and occasionally it can still contain lead. So thankfully not as much as the old paints did. And I won't be licking my brush, so there'll be no chance of lead poisoning. So to get it into a workable medium, you add terps, first of all, a bit of terps, and then you grind. And all that does is just create a pigment. Now the next stage is to mix an oil. Now depending on what it is that you're doing will depend on what oil you use. For this instance, because I'm using a pen, I'm going to be using aniseed oil. Now aniseed oil for me personally is the best oil for pen work because I find that it flows through the nib better. There's lots of different oils that different people use, clove oil, eucalyptus oil. The generic oil is called fat oil, which is evaporated terps, and that's pretty much, you can use that for pretty much anything, but I prefer aniseed oil for pen work. So it's just a case of loading the pen and then going over the lines that I have transferred onto the plate. And I just find that the aniseed oil keeps the flow quite smooth. And it's just a case of going over the patterned lines. Now at this point, if I make a mistake, it's absolutely fine because I can just use the terps and remove the areas that I don't want. Now traditionally you would have had to fire different colours at different temperatures, but because of the modern way that our kilns work and the paints are made, we no longer have to do that. So thankfully we can fire all the colours at the same temperature, except for gold. What I would have to do, if I wanted to infill this with colour, I'd have to fire it, and then when the black comes out of the kiln, then I could go over and do the colour. But for this piece, it is just going to be black. And then for an instance like that where it's bled slightly, once that's dried a little bit, I can then go and scrape some of that away to neaten that edge up. Okay, so there we go.